Tunisia's Prime Minister Hisham Mishishi announced a major cabinet reshuffle affecting 12 ministries in the wake of high-profile sackings. Mishishi said the aim of this reshuffle is to achieve greater efficiency in the work of the government. The new lineup, which does not include any women, must be approved by Parliament. Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan said in a joint press conference with his Jordanian counterpart Ayman al-Safadi in Riyadh, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will open its embassy in Doha within days after completing the necessary procedures. His comments follow the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman signing of the January 5th Al-Ula Agreement, which saw the reopening of the borders between Qatar and Saudi Arabia. The Saudi minister repeated the need to reach a comprehensive solution to the Palestinian conflict. The Palestinian Authority announced it will hold its first national elections in more than a decade in the latest of many attempts to end years of infighting between President Mahmoud Abbas's Fatah movement and his rival Hamas. Palestinians' last parliamentary ballot in 2006 resulted in a surprise win by Hamas, widening an internal political rift that led to the group's seizure of the Gaza Strip in 2007 and contributed to a long delay in a setting of further elections. The PA, which has limited self-rule in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, will hold legislative elections on May 22nd and a presidential vote on July 31st. US President-elect Joe Biden has unveiled a $1.9 trillion coronavirus economic relief package for the United States. The proposal, called the American Rescue Plan, would speed up the vaccination program, meeting Biden's goals of administering 100 million vaccines by the 100th day of his presidency. Meanwhile, it would provide another round of economic aid with proposed $1,400 checks for most Americans, which, on top of $600 provided in the most recent COVID-19 bill, would bring the total to $2,000 that Biden has called for. UN agencies have stepped up efforts to help thousands of Rohingya refugees left without shelter after a devastating fire tore through a crowded refugee camp in southeastern Bangladesh on Thursday. The fire erupted in the Nayab Har refugee camp in Cox's Bazar, getting about 550 shelters and 150 shops. A community center is also said to have been destroyed. UN agencies said about 3,500 Rohingya refugees, including children, lost their homes and belongings in the blaze in the middle of winter and the coronavirus pandemic. The United Kingdom has banned arrivals from all South American countries and Portugal because of a new variant of coronavirus discovered in Brazil. According to British Transport Minister Grant Shapps, the measures, which came into effect on Friday morning, do not apply to British or Irish nationals or those who have residency in the UK. Nationals and residents who do return will have to isolate for 10 days. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will soon appoint female judges in a landmark move to empower women. Hind Zahid, the Undersecretary for Women's Empowerment at the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Development, said. The recently Minister of Justice Walid Samani issued directives to appoint 100 women notaries for facilitating judicial services for women. The ministry also recently appointed many qualified women in the fields of law, sharia, psychology, administration and technology in the ministry for the first time. Travel restrictions and other curbs to movement put in place in the light of the COVID-19 pandemic have put a significant dent in migration figures, but the overall trend shows 100 million more people living outside their countries of origin in 2020 compared to the year 2000, according to UN report revealed recently. International Migration 2020 highlights published by the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs shows that the pandemic may have slowed migration flows by 2 million people last year, cutting the annual growth expected since mid-2019 by around 27%. WhatsApp is facing a legal challenge in India, its biggest market, after a petition was filed before Delhi High Court over the upcoming change in the Facebook-owned app status sharing policy. The petition alleges the new terms that WhatsApp requires its roughly 450 million users in the country to accept is a violation of their fundamental rights to privacy and possess a threat to national security. Through an in-app alert, WhatsApp has asked users in recent days to agree to new terms and conditions that grant the app to consent to share some personal data about them, such as their phone number and location with Facebook. A team of researchers from the New York University Abu Dhabi has conducted an exhaustive review of the scientific literature surrounding the natural production of light, called bioluminescence, and developed conclusions that will help others in the field of direct their research and uncover the mysteries behind this natural phenomenon. They also demonstrated that it is possible to build a library of the enzymes in the future, which will enable researchers to control the color and intensity of light emission by engineering. Throughout human history, it has been an inspiration to scientists, artists, and laypersons. Glowing fungi have been used by tribes and soldiers as lanterns to guide their way through jungles without the need of electricity, and fireflies were used by miners as safety lights. Rhinoceros calf Jessie was just 4 months old when she arrived at a shelter in northern South Africa, bleeding from a cut to the shoulder and deeply traumatized. Rescuers suspect the animal was injured by poachers who took out its mother, hitting the calf with a machete to keep it away. Jessie was lucky to escape alive and land in a unique center devoted to rehabilitating rhino orphans. During the Lunar New Year celebrations, most Singaporeans exchange monetary gifts known as Hongbao, which come in form of new banknotes placed in red envelopes. However, the Central Bank of Singapore seeks to replace this popular tradition with an eco-friendly one by encouraging people to give digital gifts instead of the traditional banknotes. This step aims to reduce queues in banks and emissions generated by printing millions of new banknotes for this occasion. According to Bloomberg, Singapore's tradition of gifting new banknotes during the Lunar New Year celebrations generates the same level of emissions as charging 5.7 million smartphones for 5 days. Authorities in Switzerland have warned of high avalanche risk in mountainous regions of the Alpine nation after heavy snowfall in recent days. Zurich's public transport company halted all tram and bus services in Switzerland's biggest city Friday, saying snow had brought down trees and blocked access to 3 vehicle depots overnight. Some eastern Swiss regions saw up to 80 centimeters of snowfall in 24 hours. Parts of the Goms Valley on the border with Italy were cut off from the world due to the blocked roads. Fountains Abbey, near Ripon, North Yorkshire, was originally set up by 13 Benedictine monks seeking refuge from the more extravagant rowdy monks in York. 800 years later, the abbey ruins and its gardens face another threat: the climate crisis. The Skull Valley, where the ruins stand, has been flooded several times in recent years, raising fears that the UK's largest monastic ruins are at risk of irreparable damage. Now, a £2.5 million National Trust project aided by £1.4 million lottery grant has been greenlit to improve the landscape's resilience to changing weather.